This is the story of S Games. From 2006 to 2011, I was in film school in California, and I had the opportunity to intern and work at Warner Brothers Studios, where I worked on the development of some feature films like The Lego Movie, Sherlock Holmes, and The Gangster Squad, to name a few. I came to the revelation that the Hollywood work schedule of 12 to 16-hour workdays wasn't going to fit with my values for a work-life balance. So I transitioned my filmmaking career to the smaller film industry of commercials, training videos, and corporate videos, things like that. My dad worked in the commercial film industry as a gaffer, so I had a lot of connections, contacts, and experience. However, I didn't initially use those connections because I tried to get into the YouTube field by playing video games. But what ended up happening was I ended up playing more games than creating content. I didn't have a plan or a realistic strategy. I just wanted an excuse to play video games. I picked up a part-time job at Best Buy, and then in 2012 I moved back to Salt Lake City, and before you ask, no, I'm not a Mormon or a polygamist. I moved back to capitalize on my filmmaking connections in the film industry. It was in 2012 that I initially thought of the idea for making high-quality, concise video tutorials for board games. I kept coming across time-wasting videos that weren't helpful and thought, I want to fix that. But because of my addiction to video games, I sat on that idea for 2 years. When I say addiction, that's exactly what it was. I could not play for just 20 minutes. Once I started playing, I would go for 13 hours. My life was doing freelance film jobs here and there while playing video games and board games when I wasn't working. It wasn't until 2013 that I had the strength to give up video games cold turkey. I don't say this to cast judgment on anyone who plays video games. I just can't play video games because I have a problem. 2012 was also the year that I started designing my own board games for fun. After I moved back to Salt Lake, I began playing board games with my friend Spencer, who is the person in the Uno video. He also liked designing board games, and we decided to team up in 2014 and start a board game company to create board games. So, we ran a Kickstarter campaign for Spencer's game, The Vicious Circle. I knew that we would need a good how-to-play video, and I remembered my idea for high-quality, concise board game tutorials and thought we should start a YouTube channel to help with the promotion of our games. I thought if we could get 36 subscribers from people we don't know, that would be a huge success and worth it. My philosophy behind my videos is to keep them short, concise, to the point, visually rich, with a professional production quality. So, the first thing that came to mind was scripts. Each video needed a written script that had only what was needed. When I looked on YouTube at the current quality of game tutorials, it became apparent to me that few people took the time to plan what they were going to say. I was taught in film school that anything that isn't adding to the video is taking away from it. Ums, pauses, rambling repetition, unclear and imprecise language, strategy, and tips all take away from learning a game. Figuring out the right structure of a video is very important, so I rewrite all the rules from the rulebook into a script. The next important need for high-quality production is clean, crisp audio. So a dedicated microphone would need to be used. Editing is the next most important factor, and a solution for giving yourself editing options is to film yourself on screen giving the instruction. I had built a homemade teleprompter for another project and decided it would make sense to use that. Finally, I knew I needed sufficient lighting for an optimal experience, and since my dad owns a ton of lighting equipment, that wasn't an issue. I already owned 2 DSLR cameras, so I was set. As I pulled together the script for The Vicious Circle, I also crafted scripts for 12 other games, because if you're going to bother setting everything up, you might as well make the most of it. I picked some good Euro games that I enjoyed, and a few easy abstract ones to make. In fact, there is one game that Spencer and I recorded from 2014 that was never edited nor released. Can you guess which one it is? At the same time this channel started, I was working on the card game Stroop'd with my brother, which we were originally going to release after The Vicious Circle. If you're interested in that game, check out this video. Around the time The Vicious Circle released, I got married and was making more videos and continuing developing games. I got connected with a major game publisher and created a deal where I would make them some videos and they would use their artists to create some artwork for my upcoming Game Stroop'd. Unfortunately, I learned the lesson that you can't trust people's word and that you need to have contracts in writing. So, not only did I not get the artwork for my game, I also wasted time and energy making videos that didn't help grow my channel as much as other videos would have. But that is how you learn. For the next 2 years, I would slowly bulk write 30 or so scripts, then find a weekend to do a mad dash filming session where I would set up my lights and film everything in 3 to 4 exhausting days. I would then slowly edit the videos and release them over the coming months. During this time, I was also working 20 to 30 hours a week making product videos for a company. I had given up video games at this point, but occasionally would relapse into them and lose some hours working here and there. I also struggled against wasting tons of time watching YouTube videos. My regrets from 2012 to 2016 is not acting on my initial ideas sooner, as well as not investing tons of my free time into growing the channel. In 2016, I had run out of products to make videos for in my part-time job, and my wife gave birth to our first child. I had a good opportunity to change careers out of filmmaking and into IT when a friend offered me a job in IT and would train me in an apprenticeship-style arrangement. I worked for my friend for 3 years in a new career, and it was like drinking water from a fire hydrant. I was only able to complete a few videos during that time because it was exhausting learning an entirely new vocation. In reality, the only reason I was able to complete any videos was because I had already filmed them and just needed to edit them. After 2 years in this new career, as my channel and family slowly grew, my brain calmed down and I finally had the time and desire to slowly begin making more videos. So I would use my vacation time to take days off here and there in order to do massive production days, then edit the videos in my free time. This usually happened in chunks with several months break in between. In 2018, I decided to try something new and created a board game review series where I would give my personal opinion about games. That idea flopped, and so I abandoned it. While I was working in IT, I was able to listen to audiobooks during my commutes to and from clients. I listened to fiction as well as self-improvement books. Through the help of a friend and these books, my life became more disciplined and structured and free. I'll throw a link in the description for all the books I've read and rank them based on my personal recommendation. In 2019, my wife and I created our first written goals for the year, which really started to shape and guide my future. Also in 2019, as my family grew, I discovered I needed to change IT jobs to get better benefits. At my new job, I found unexpected encouragement from a friend for working on my YouTube channel. From my last video in January of 2019 to my videos in November of 2019, you'll notice some huge changes to my filming sets. This is because during the break between January and November, I finished my basement and built a small bedroom down there that I could use as a small studio. Over the years, I have slowly acquired more gear and hardware to aid in the filming process and to increase the quality. I'm always looking for ways to decrease the friction and make it easier to film. Having a studio that is always set up and ready to go is a huge benefit that greatly increases the quality and speed at which I can produce content. Having a dedicated filming space also allows me to be more disciplined with my time, and so I changed my schedule so that I would go to bed no later than 10:30 p.m. and I would wake up at 5:30 a.m. Each morning, I read a little, exercise some days, and work on videos until 8 a.m. I would then have breakfast with my family before going to work. In the evenings, when everyone was in bed, I would squeeze a few hours in here or there to record some audio when the house was quiet. On the weekends, I learned the importance of taking a day off to rest where I don't do any YouTube stuff whatsoever. Being disciplined not to work 1 day a week can be challenging, but in the end, it's super beneficial. In November of 2019, I wanted to try to experiment with other languages, and that's when you first meet my friend Eddie, when he helped me translate 5 videos into Spanish. I also started exploring yard games, and I made a fake April Fool's game. When COVID hit, I watched an incredible surge in people learning board games while they were stuck at home in quarantine. A very interesting analytic. I used this time to research what games would be good to make videos for. In August of 2020, I strayed from my research and experimented with a puzzle series and a parlor game series in order to ramp up the content to keep it flowing more consistently to see how that played into the growth of my channel. In October, I stopped and I went back to trusting my research. When I look back at some of my first videos, I wish I could improve them. I wish there was a way in YouTube to replace a current video with a higher quality version of it without losing the views and exposure in the algorithm. In November of 2020, I experimented with remaking my How to Play Monopoly video. I also started changing my thumbnails and experimented with the search tags and descriptions. In December of 2020, I started a How to Win Chess in X Moves series. It did okay, so I made some more. In 2021, I tried to stick with my research and focus on the games people are interested in. I hit a few patterns with Monopoly, Uno, and chess. And I also tried the video games Minecraft and Pokemon. In July of 2021, I hit 50,000 subscribers, and I knew I had hit the tipping point. I started designing custom chessboards and chess pieces, and I started a Discord server for those interested in early access to videos who wanted to help check my videos for errors. In November of 2021, I hit 75,000 subscribers, and I began creating scripts and ideas for my 100,000 subscriber video because I wanted it to be special. I acquire my games wherever is easiest and cheapest. I borrow games from friends. I buy used games locally from strangers. I buy brand new games whenever they are on sale. I store all the games, then try to resell them at around a 50% loss in order to help recoup some of the investment while clearing space for more games. But I never purchase a game, film it, then return it to the store. And I rarely throw games away. I am always looking for new tools and tricks I can implement to increase the efficiency of editing, filming, or getting games. I edit on a 16-inch MacBook Pro M1 Max connected to a 49-inch ultra-wide monitor and a 27-inch Mac Thunderbolt display that I use for color accuracy. I use a bunch of third-party plugins from Knights of the Editing Table for Premiere Pro to automate small repetitive tasks. I use the custom plugin CinemaGrade for color correction because it reduces my export time by 66%. I use an Elgato Stream Deck for custom buttons to speed up the video creation process, and my Logitech gaming mouse has a few customizable buttons I can assign frequently used hotkeys to as well. At the end of 2021, I got the software Freedom, which allows me to set schedules for blocking certain apps or websites across all my devices to help me stay focused on truly what matters. I'll put a link in the description if you're interested in checking it out. In my studio, I have custom wiring for 2 sets that allows me to control the lights with a single flip of the switch. I also wired up an extension cord with an inline switch so I can turn on and off a backlight depending on which camera I am using. I transformed my filming table to standing height and rotated my set 90 degrees to get more space. I got this really cool black cloth from Japan that absorbs something like 98% of light, and I'm really pleased with how well it works as a background. I have shelves of games waiting to be made, and a completed shelf for games I am selling. My biggest hurdle currently that I would like to overcome is space because everything is so tight and precise in here. But that would involve moving, which I am not ready to do yet, but hopefully one day. Thank you all so much for your incredible support with this channel. I appreciate your views, likes, comments, and shares. Have a wonderful day, and whoa, guys, I have to interject and say some news that I did not cover when I initially recorded that, and that is because on March 17th, 2022, I went full-time YouTube, and that's because of you. Thank you so much. It's incredible. Truly is.